Okay, welcome back to another video. It's Saturday again, so today I'm going to be featuring a few bits about my NanoPlay. I'm going to start off with Subnodal Technologies' GitHub. If you don't know already, NanoPlay is a Subnodal product. You can read more about Subnodal at our website, of course, subnodal.com, which I am pretty proud to co-own this domain. One of the only few, with the exception of like one or two domains, this is one of the only few .coms I own, so very nice. But the main reason why I'm on this GitHub is because I've done a lot of work since, well, last week. Of course, last week I showed you the web API that we did for NanoPlay, and now I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I've been doing for Subnodal. So I'm not going to show too much of this because it may be a bit boring, and it's not really directly related to NanoPlay, but we've got submodules, which is what makes web API possible. It's just our system for creating cool JavaScript modules which link together really well, and it's good for our upcoming plans for Subnodal as a whole, so that's pretty cool. Subelements is, well, it says here, a website templating framework to quickly and easily build platforms. So yeah, it does what it says on the tin. It's just a framework which we use to make websites, which I'm going to feature in a second. That website being the NanoPlay website, and yeah, it really does show you that we're using our own products. Subelements works. Subpack is designed for submodules that allows us to basically bundle and minify our submodules libraries into a single min.js file, which people can use on their own websites. We're doing the same for web API. We're going to subpack that, and it's available at our CDN. Our CDN contains our hosted files and libraries which have been subpacked, so I'm not going to go over too much there. I mean, it's only 8 lines of code. That being minified files, so it's excusable. Accounts is also going to be a thing that I'm going to show you. That's just our authentication system for signing into Subnodal platforms such as the NanoPlay website, and also things that we're going to do in the future. We may even link it up to Game Proxy, because Game Proxy is also owned by Subnodal. And finally, CS Engine, which is also a pretty cool thing, which I'm going to show at the end, which again is related to NanoPlay. It's good for, it's basically just an embedded code editor, so I'll show you that in a sec. But for now, I'm just going to show you, well, this is the GitHub. We have a GitHub for NanoPlay, the OS, and also the website. Got a very nice, very long README. If you want to learn more about NanoPlay, we've got all sorts, from what NanoPlay OS does and what the API does. Not the web API, but the internal one that your app uses to interface with the OS, which, you know, it's just basically commands, which I showed in the first video, I think it was. Or it could be the second, I think it's the first, I don't know. So that's just stuff about drawing shapes and text on the LCD, to setting the NFC chip to emit a specified URL. It's pretty cool for when you tap your phone against your NanoPlay. In fact, oh no, my phone is actually the camera. But yeah, you can just pretend that this phone is on. Basically what you can do is you can tap your phone against the NanoPlay screen, and your phone will open a website if it runs on Android. Yeah, iOS users, good luck with that. As well as other things to do with the, in fact I can show you again, the NanoPlay has a few pins on the back. You'll be able to see, if I focus the camera, just in that black bit there at the bottom, that's actually a header where you can plug in cables such as these. If it focuses again, don't think this has autofocus, but yeah, you can plug in these kind of things, and you can do things from, I don't know, making a LED flash to interfacing with other really cool PCBs, maybe even, I don't know, Raspberry Pi Zero if you want to connect that up and allow your NanoPlay to talk to it. Even though, well, the Raspberry Pi Zero does have Bluetooth, so you could just do that instead. But so yeah, that's NanoPlay OS on our GitHub. Everything's written entirely in JavaScript, with the exception of this Python file for, well, and also this one for packaging the OS and minifying it. But apart from that, everything else is JavaScript because, well, the NanoPlay runs JavaScript. And yeah, it features all sorts. I think I've probably showcased a few aspects of it in my previous videos, but yeah, we've got all sorts on it, including localization, which is pretty cool. Allows people from all around the world to use the NanoPlay. Moving on, NanoPlay website is in development. It still says hello world, so there's nothing much you can see with it right now, but you can go to the dashboard. It'll ask you to sign in with, say that, hang on, give it a sec, there we go. I got a really cool graphic that I made, I knocked up, and yeah, you can sign in with Subnodal. It'll pop up with an authentication window, so you know, you can enter your personal details. You can either create a Subnodal account if you don't have one already, or you can just sign in if you do have one. And well, we support multiple languages, which is pretty cool. And yeah, you can sign in. It will just quickly sign me in, and we should appear at the dashboard, which currently says hello James. Well, my username, but apart from that, the dashboard doesn't do anything at the moment. I've got plans for that though, including the IDE, which I admit I have not created yet, but I mean, this week has mainly been leading up to just getting ready for creating the IDE. So without further ado, I'm going to switch to the camera now. I'll make it full screen. There we go. And I'm going to showcase what actually my friend Sebdo has been creating. If you're watching this video, Seb, congrats, you're featured. I'm sorry about the quality of the camera, by the way. I'm streaming it to my computer where we're doing a screen recording, so there's going to be a bit of a delay. But as you can see, I've got my NanoPlay right here. It's primed and ready to go. There's no apps on it yet, with the exception of the default clock and settings. But where Sebdo comes into play, because he's also got a NanoPlay, I've been starting to distribute them, and someone else is going to receive one soon as well. So there's going to be 3 NanoPlay users at some point, which is pretty cool. But this is the IDE that Seb has been making, which is, I find, is pretty awesome. This is just a proof of concept, I believe, but you can write apps without having to interface directly with the web API. Seb has used the NanoPlay web API to make this IDE, which is pretty cool. I wish this camera would autofocus. So I've just made this, I just wrote a little test app, which is basically just slightly different from the default, but just for demonstration purposes. And you can also customize the manifest. Right now you can do it for English and French, which is pretty cool. And well, let's give it a whirl. I've got my NanoPlay here. I'm going to turn it on, even though that's not needed, because if you upload an app to your sleeping NanoPlay, then it will still upload. But if you upload to Bluetooth and pair, you should see that in a few seconds, as it connects, it will upload the app. And boom, pretty nice. We've still got our default, well, not our default, but our test icon. It's not a default because we've actually got a default icon, but it's not that one. Side note, if I backtrack, this is a test of our basic IDE, which is pretty cool. Very similar to the demo that I showed not too long ago, but that was back when we were using my other my demo of the web API itself, and not the actual IDE. Yeah, this is a test of our basic IDE, and it works, and I'll just quickly do the 4-key combination to exit that. So that's pretty cool what Subnodal has done, and I think finally, if I switch back to sharing the screen, which if I go like that, I'll drag that out of the way, get the keyboard back again. This is the pretty cool thing that I've basically done for most of this week. This may look like just, you know, a standard normal code editor, but this is actually one that I created. I wrote all the syntax highlighting, so, you know, it highlights the strings in blue and the comments in like a dark blue with italics, etc. So yeah, I basically made an embeddable code editor, which I'm still working on. There's still a few bugs with it, but it's pretty feature complete, gotta say. So that's mainly been the focus of this week, making this really cool editor, and it even features like things such as, I don't know, you can write code such as function hello world, and then you see it does indentation, which is pretty cool. And you can, I don't know, if we do a closing bracket, it will indent twice for some reason. May want to fix that. But yeah, you can, if I just refresh this, you can, it's still not working properly, but it all fails when it's live, but yeah, you can do indentation, and you can indent the whole block on its own, but this is all going to be integrated into our final IDE once we've made that. I guess this week hasn't been too eventful in terms of exciting progress made with NanoPlay, but I think it's all good. It's just enough to prepare ourselves for the IDE creation. Nothing too much in terms of the NanoPlay front, but more towards the Subnodal side of things. But next week, hopefully, I definitely am going to create the IDE so that people can actually visit the website, go into the dashboard, and write their own apps properly. Obviously, Seb's thing was a prototype, and it doesn't feature the Code Slate engine, as it's called. So yeah, that's hopefully what I'm going to do next week. I know I've got plenty of time, seeing that we're all in lockdown because of COVID-19. But yeah, that's it for this video. I don't think there's anything more to say. So thanks for watching this week's edition of, I guess we call it Dev Saturdays, and I'll see you next week. Bye.